we go! All right, hi everyone. Welcome back to the Black Carnivore, not podcast, live stream. I am forgetting what day it is, where I am, what I'm doing. But I am happy to be here with Arian tonight, and we are going to talk about, we got a couple of things to talk about. First of all, he is going to give us an update on his salt sagas, his continuing salt sagas, and, yeah, the Salt Wars. And then we are going to dive into talking about the beef salt and water fast. I'm sure you've heard people talk about it. Right now there's one going on from the Black Carnivore, or in the Black Carnivore Facebook group, but this is something that people do all the time. So I wanted to just kind of talk about it and see and help you sort of figure out if it's right for you. And then that's our conversation tonight. So stay tuned. Now, Arian, one, you're a little bit off center, so I don't know if you want to move to your left. And two,
okay.
There you go.
See,
nope.
But then I'm like, no, because then I'm way from in front of my desk, and I don't want to be off like that. I switched places last minute, and I think that was a bad idea.
It is never a good idea to do things last minute before you go live on camera. So,
right?
I'll just say that.
What? Let me just put this in the center. How about that?
Yeah, there you go.
Turn it straight towards me.
Yeah. So let's hear about your salt sagas.
Yeah, so it's been an ongoing thing. That's why I'm calling it a saga now. Just trying to figure out what I need to do to keep my electrolytes balanced so that I have high energy and that I'm not feeling sick or beat down in any way. And I talked about how I gave myself an accidental salt flush. Good times. And were there any other big screw ups? I think just that, and then the opposite, where I was not having enough salt at all and wasn't real hungry, energy was bad. So I looked up isotonic water again. So isotonic water is water, or isotonic saline, I should say, is water that has the same concentration of salt that your blood has, or I guess your interstitial fluid, one of the two. But
that's
it's
like
about,
contact lens solution.
Basically, yeah.
So you can just go and buy some Opti fluid or Opti-Free, whatever it's called.
You could. I'm assuming that there's some cleaning chemicals in there, maybe a real small amount that makes that better than literally just putting your contacts in salt water. But
there's just plain solution that's for rinsing, and then there's the multi-purpose that does cleaning. But you get the plain one, just drink that.
Oh, yeah. Or you could buy the saline fluid for your nasal cavity. It's the same stuff.
Uh-huh.
So, or you could just make it, because it's as simple as a quarter teaspoon of water and 8 ounces, a quarter teaspoon of salt and 8 ounces of water. Mm-hmm. So I make that and I sip it throughout the day. I have not chugged any, staying away from that. And literally the next day I felt so much closer to as good as I could be.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so a quarter of a teaspoon in 8 ounces of water.
Yeah.
And you sip it, don't chug it.
Right. I don't know that chugging would be bad because it is isotonic, but I don't want to do that. And I don't want to chug water, period. I pretty much never want a whole glass of water at a time.
I love to chug water.
No. I'll chug other stuff. I'll chug, when I was drinking juice and Kool-Aid and stuff, a whole glass of that and go down super easy. But
yeah,
I gotta be real thirsty to want a whole glass of water at once.
Okay. All right, well, I'm glad it had a happy ending, that you're feeling better and you found a formula that's working for you.
Yeah. So I'm happy about that. Esther asked, is that the same as Soleil water? No, not at all. The Soleil water thing, that is dissolving as much water, as much salt as like an amount of water can hold overnight. So it's like dumping in a bunch of salt into some water and then letting it sit overnight so that all that salt absorbs. And then you take that Soleil water, and this is the part that doesn't really make sense to me. They don't drink it straight. Although some people will talk about drinking it straight, you're actually not supposed to. You're supposed to then take that Soleil water, like a shot glass of it or something, and mix that into a whole, like, I don't know, 8 or 16 ounces of plain water. So at that point, you've diluted it. So at that point, why wouldn't you just make it at the time that you're going to drink it? Why are you doing this extra step the night before?
Yeah, I don't know. I always have some. It's always in the cupboard, but I forget about it and it sits there. And but I have no idea what I'm really supposed to do with it. So I have it. And then the last time before my current container, I'd forgotten about it. I went back to it, and inexplicably, the salt formed these unbelievably beautiful crystals. I mean, they were all like cubes or maybe slight rectangles, and they look like diamonds. I mean, I was stunned because the salt did not go in looking like that. And I've never seen anything like this. It kind of reminded me of rock candy, but much more beautifully formed. Like this, I could see you putting in a setting and having like a beautiful ring. So I was like, okay, some really interesting chemistry happened while I was not looking.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I've saved them, but it's like I don't know what to do with them. And should they get wet, like that's the end of them. Also,
Yeah.
I assume.
Have you ever done that again, like recreated that?
Well, I've done it many times, but I've never recreated the salt crystal, the cubes
Yeah.
that formed. Yeah, no. So I don't know if it was like a specific kind of salt. I can't say that I've ever reused the same salt. So, I've used different salt each time I've made it. So I don't know if that was the difference or what.
Hmm.
Yeah. But it was helpful to make it, like one time this guy gave me like a huge bag, like this big, of like pink Himalayan salt chunks, but they were big chunks, like small pebbles. And I was like, oh, I don't know what to do with this, and I don't have a salt grinder, so I just kind of had this. And then I saw something about the Soleil water, and I was like, oh, that's a great use for it. So I did that, and then I had Soleil water, and then it was like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing with this. So yeah, there you go, Soleil water.
Yeah.
I think
pour it
it's
in
fine.
regular water to dilute it.
Yeah, I don't know. But one thing is, since we're talking about salt, I want to tell everybody, I need to put the link, but I am an affiliate for Redmond Sea Salt and, or Redmond's Real Salt. And, so you should definitely go and order some. But they have these, limited edition flavors. They're smoked salt, and one is like cherrywood, one is hickory, and one is the chef special. I didn't order the chef special. It's like, I don't know what that is. But I tried the cherrywood and the hickory, and it is amazing. Oh my God, it's so good. So every steak I make, every burger has this smoky taste to it, and it's really good. So I definitely encourage you. I'm going to, get my act together tonight, get the link into this description, and you guys should order some because it is very good.
Okay, that sounds good. I'm getting low. I think I bought like two of the bags, and the big shaker, and then the small shaker, and the travel one. And my bags are just about out, so I probably need to be up soon.
Yeah. All right. So I'll get that up to you. And this
Right.
week, for the first time in a long time, I got a flavored water. So this is my favorite flavor of LaCroix, peach pear. I think it's been probably Over a year. I think once quarantine started, I just thought it was probably a good time to stop buying water. And I just kind of forgot about the flavors. And then I got a Soda Stream, and I don't know. And so I was at the store and I saw this and I was like, let me get this again. And it's okay, but I probably won't buy anymore. Yeah.
How does it compare to your Soda Stream water?
Um, I think I prefer plain, and I like plain because when I add salt to it, there is something so perfect about a little saltiness in sparkling water. I totally get it now, like why people do this. So yeah, I don't know. So no, this is doesn't compare.
Yeah, I think it was you who first said that salt and mineral water is really good,
Mm-hmm.
and I tried some just like San Pellegrino in a glass, salt that, and it's yeah really good. And what I find, at least lately, is that the flavored spring water, mineral water, all those like they don't taste like what that thing is supposed to taste like. Like you say, like this one's like strawberry or something, and like I know what strawberries taste like. This is not what strawberry. This is some facsimile of it that I guess maybe can let some people slide by, but like it doesn't work for me. The only ones that ever taste satisfying or even close to satisfying are the lemon or lime ones. And
Yeah.
then like I probably might as well just have my own lemon juice, put a couple drops.
Yeah. Agreed. I don't know, plain old water. It's good stuff. I like it. Although I have to say, I'm in New York and we're known for having like really awesome water. So, for people who live in areas that, don't have as tasty a water, or, I've heard people complain about well water, then I don't know, maybe it's a different story there. So, but let's dive right in and start talking about the beef salt water challenge. Do you know what that is, Arian?
I have heard, I just saw it today, that people are doing, I think, 60 days of just beef, salt, and water,
Mm-hmm.
and that's all I know.
Yeah. And those of you who are here in the chat, put it in the chat if you've ever tried it, if have you ever spent any amount of time like just eating beef, and how has that gone for you? I'd love to hear from you. So the beef salt water challenge is just that, eating only beef, salt, and water for a period of time. Some people do it 30 days, some people do it 60 days. And I think that it is important to think about what it actually, what it actually is, and making sure that you're kind of doing it in the right way. I think it can be a helpful reset, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a place that you stay. But it can be, it can be a helpful way to get back on track. So, so it's just beef, salt, and water. But remember, a cow is, it's a whole animal, and there's a lot of things in the animal, right? So, some people start doing it and they just have steak and salt and water. But I think it's important to expand. So you're not just eating necessarily steak, but you're having oxtail, hamburger, bone marrow, bone broth. You can even include, you could argue that you could include butter. There's a lot of parts of the cow, and you don't want to shortchange them. What do you think about that,
Yeah.
Arian?
Um, I also think it would so I agree with all that, that there is a whole lot of the cow that you are not enjoying if you are only eating steak. I also think just eating steak is like very, very expensive. I know some of y'all live charmed lives where you're buying ribeyes for $4 a pound. That's not how it works over here on the East Coast. So there's no way I could try to do steak all the time. Even when I buy steaks now, like it's been so long since I've had steak on sale that steak is always a treat.
Yeah.
It's a,
Well,
it's a thing that lasts a day or two and then it's done. And then um, you're not getting, if you're only eating steak, you're probably not getting nearly as much connective tissue as if you eat like a roast. You're not making any broth, which for me has ended up being pretty important and a good. There are days where I wake up and I want something to drink, and I know that I don't actually want coffee, but coffee is just the go-to. So it's nice to have broth on those days when I know that coffee is really not what I want. I don't want it. Why am I going to drink this diuretic um, liquid?
yeah. Yeah. Well, that definitely makes sense. So you want to spread it around and make sure that you're having a lot of different things. One of the things that I find concerning, I mean, I have to say for me, I love beef and I don't get tired of it. So I have absolutely gone 30 days, maybe even 60 days only eating beef and not even realizing it. Like, not on purpose. That's just kind of how it goes. So, so I'm like, totally in the, beef all the way corner. But
Hmm.
I know that other people, do feel like they want more variety. And I don't think that it brings enough benefit if you feel like you're going to get bored and end up cheating. It doesn't bring enough benefit to do it. Um, yeah. What do you think about that?
I I thought this actually came to mind when I watched it was either yesterday or the day before that video with Kelly, the woman from
Mm-hmm.
Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she talked about knowing exactly that if she indulges a little bit, she's going to do it a lot. And I think we need that sort of self awareness so that we can know like we are the type of person who I need the variety. If I'm not
Mm-hmm.
eating different kinds of meat, if I'm not getting different flavors, then I'm going to be bored and I'm going to end up making bad choices sometimes later. Some
Mm-hmm.
people don't need that at all.
Yeah. Now, Ms. VKC says I could do it with ground beef. I just love ground beef and ground beef with liver. So, totally, totally get it. I can go a long period just eating ground beef.
Yeah.
And,
I'm
uh
I'm
huh.
reaching that place now. It's not meatballs, it's not hamburgers, it's just ground beef cooked in a browned in a pan, spiced however I want to spice it and then eat it.
Mm-hmm.
So good, never gets boring.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely kind of feel like it's kind of like baby food. It just goes down easy. You don't have to do much chewing, and it's kind of like, I don't know, I kind of think about it like my comfort food. Like, this is mashed
Mm,
potatoes or ice cream for me. It just kind of slides down easy, and it's good stuff all the time.
mm, I could see that.
N- Now, Francine Morales says, I did it for 30 days when I first started carnivore with homemade bone broth and liver. It went well, so much so that I'm still carnivore 3 years later. That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, very impressive. And then Esther says, when they do beef, salt, and water, they usually try various cuts of meat. They will have beef ribs, flank steak, cheaper cuts of beef, or even ground beef. Yeah, so that's the right way to do it for sure. And I just want to make sure that people who are thinking about trying it, that that there's a lot of parts to beef, and and all of them are on the table, so to speak.
Right. And put them on your table. Especially
Hmm.
just trying to, I think part of the reason people don't do beef all the time is because chicken's cheaper, pork is cheaper. Um, Beef can get cheaper, but you can't be doing just steak, and especially not like the high end steaks.
Hmm. Yeah. And Janae says it's easy to fix and be done. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yep.
Um, So I have been having a love, love, love affair with beef bacon. So much so that I needed to stop. It's first of all, it's wildly expensive. A 12-ounce package is like $9.49. So, and I can
Hmm.
eat a whole package in one sitting. So, yeah, that was bad. But man, it tasted so, so good. It was really hard. And one day last week, I made pork burgers with beef bacon. And I was like, this is, I love it. It was amazing. And it was, just a nice twist off of a beef burger and pork bacon.
Oh yeah. Okay, it's the inverse.
So, Freaky Friday. Switched up. Wow, everything's backwards. Topsy turvy world.
Right.
Yeah.
Pork burger. So did you buy the ground pork and make the patty yourself?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I had it ground pork, but yeah.
Hmm.
So
That's cool.
delicious. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And
beef
I am
bacon is.
remembering I like ground pork. I've forgotten about that. So I've been eating a bit more pork lately.
I just every time you mention pork, I'm always like, I hope it doesn't beat her up. I hope that she's careful with it.
This time it doesn't seem to be. I don't know. I don't know what that is about. But I'm, being careful about how much I have. So it's still not a lot.
Okay,
And it's fresh pork. So we'll see.
good.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love beef bacon, and it's so much more. I mean, the same with beef versus pork altogether. It's so much more filling and fulfilling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So, everybody, let's see. I saw some people who had done this. Did you find that when you did the beef salt and water fast, like what were some of the effects that you saw? I would say that for me, I have done it where it's beef, but I have also done it where I just have, I limit myself to ruminant animals. So, there's something about beef, about ruminant meat, that is so much more filling and satisfying for people. So, I think that there is room in a beef salt water to have it be beef, lamb, goat. All of those would be, fine and interchangeable for me. And some people, I thought it was really interesting that, Kelly on Tuesday in the interview said that she found goat to be more satisfying than beef. Or was it lamb that
Mm.
she was talking about?
I want to say it was goat.
Okay. Yeah.
I think it was goat. 'Cause
So,
I don't
yeah,
remember her talking about lamb much.
I thought that was interesting, and I mean, I've heard people say that lamb is more nutrient dense than beef. And I was listening to somebody talk a long time ago about lamb, and I think they lived in Australia, and so they were getting this lamb that was like the flesh was like a dark purple color because it was
Hmm.
so I don't know, I guess so dense and nutrient dense, and maybe it's not drained as long, so there's more blood still in it, but it just seems to provide a level of satiety, for some people, that's better than beef.
I wonder. So I've had goat for both meals today, and the the bowl wasn't full. Now I have to look at this now. I have to pay attention because I don't want to just I don't want to let my confirmation bias just say, oh yeah, now I see the memory differently, and it was
Hmm.
less than if I would have had the equivalent amount of beef, or if I
Hmm.
needed less goat to be full than I did beef. But I do remember looking at my bowls and thinking like these aren't very heavy, and then
Hmm.
I'd get three-quarters through eating and feel like I might need to stop.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, so I would say that if you're interested in doing this and you feel like you need something different, try throwing in some lamb and some goat and see about that. Let's see. Richard
Yeah.
Silme says, "Have a very safe and wonderful meaty day from Palau." Where's Palau? Oh my gosh, I feel terrible. Like, why didn't I not know the world?
I am looking that up right now. It's an island or a group of islands north of Australia, looks
Oh
like.
wow, that's so cool. Wow, all over the world. Well, thank you,
Yeah.
Richard. I appreciate that. And and tell me, are most of your meals lamb? I feel like if I lived in a different country where it was more accessible, I probably would love lamb and be eating it all the time. It's just that here beef is the easier option.
Yeah. I think the cheapest I can ever get lamb is like $8 a pound.
Mm-hmm.
And really, like, that's just like the lamb shoulder blade chops that like aren't very, they don't look so great and they do taste pretty good though. But everything other than that lamb is like at least 13, $15 a pound.
Yeah.
And usually
Well,
going up to 25.
yeah. Well, I went through a short bout of eating a lot of lamb the week or so before Easter because it was on sale for $9.99 at my local supermarket. So I just bought everything.
Nice.
And I really should have thought about that and like gone every day and bought everything and known that thereafter it would be $19.99 a pound. Yeah.
So you would be that person who, at the
Yes.
beginning of the pandemic,
Yes.
buys all the bottled
Yes.
water,
Yes. I
except it's
don't
all the
care.
lamb.
I don't care. Yes, I would buy all the lamb. And I did. Last week I saw there was a manager's special on ribeyes, and they were $9.99 a pound. So I bought all there was. I should have gone back the next day and bought more. And I had mentioned that the manager was there, and he came over and was like, "Oh wow," I was like, "Yeah." And do you have more? I'll take it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever you
Everyone's
got,
like,
give them to
What's
me.
going on at your house? Like, what are you doing?" But it was good stuff. Yeah.
Everybody assumes that, and it's always like, no, like most of this is going in my freezer.
Mm-hmm.
There's no cookout planned.
Yeah. Let's see. Mommy does keto, says she much prefers the taste of goat to lamb. Lamb is so strong, in my opinion. That's interesting. I don't know. I think I feel like the reverse, but it's been a long time since I've had goat.
I feel like they both have distinctive flavors, but
Mm.
definitely lamb is stronger than goat to me.
Mm. Okay. Well, so there you have it, folks. If you feel like you want something that's mild and not too much, go for the goat.
Yeah, so it seems.
Yeah. Um, let's see. And I know I did like goat cheese. So if you're looking to try something a little different, it has a slightly sour taste, but I love the
Mhm.
texture it gives scrambled eggs. So for like a good 2 years, I had goat cheese in my scrambled eggs every morning and enjoyed every single bite.
Mm, that's a good idea.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So butter in the pan, and then start to melt about an ounce of the goat cheese, and then add the scrambled eggs and just mix it all together. And it just gives it this really creamy, delicious texture.
Okay.
Put some bacon on the side next to it. It's perfect.
I might need to try that this weekend.
You absolutely need to try that this weekend. I always got plain. I felt like, once there's herbs and stuff in it, I just didn't like the direction of the flavor. But, but there's always like chives and other stuff in it as well. Yeah. Mommy Does Keto says Latin markets usually have goat. Yeah, probably. And I think where I am, like the Jamaican neighborhoods, often have goat and stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
that's what I find. Go to a a discount store, especially one that caters to international people, or an actual international ethnic market,
Mm-hmm.
that's where you find those exotic meats that aren't just like beef and pork, and also parts of the cow that you wouldn't find in a regular grocery store.
Yeah. I've never shopped at Chinatown, but I've definitely walked around there and seen all kinds of stuff. And it's like, this is probably the better place to go. And, they also eat a lot of pork belly. So that's definitely a place to get some of the cuts you're familiar with. But they're often cheaper, when you go there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And you're going to
Um,
deal with a different experience. It's not going to be like going through like, I don't know, Giant or Safeway or something.
yeah.
It's not going to be
Yeah.
perfectly clean. It's not going to smell perfect. It's worth it. I have not had any problems. Like I've bought goat from a Indian ethnic store and a regular grocery store that was kind of in the hood.
Hmm.
Both times, um, or from both places, I never have issues
Okay.
because people are always scared. Like they get used to one grocery store. A lot of folks, and they don't want to venture outside of that because they're worried about like the quality of the food or something.
Well, and it's surprising how different these grocery stores are. I mean, I think about like ground beef as something that it's ground beef is ground beef, it's ground beef. But I'm
Hmm.
surprised at how different each store is, and I can tell that their supply chain is like completely different. And some of the stores that are supposed to be fantastic, I find their ground beef has like chips of bone in it, which suck. I hate that. And then other places that seem kind
Yeah,
of, gross, it's like their ground beef is great and it tastes great. So I don't know. You can't always tell by looking sort of at the front of the market. Like you kind of have to get in there and try it. Definitely.
yeah. The one thing I will say is, at a place where you maybe don't trust the meat or you haven't, yeah, like you don't trust it, you haven't eaten there before, probably be careful maybe your first couple times. Like, don't buy everything that's there because you want to be sure that their meat, if it's sitting on the shelf all day long for days and days, that's when the meat like will go bad on the shelf.
Hmm. And I gotta say though, I think that beef is really hardy. Like
Yeah.
it can go a long time, and I've definitely eaten beef that I think is probably on the cusp, and it's still fine. And if you put enough salt on it, it's fine. But
Yeah.
you cannot do that with chicken or fish, and I don't even think pork either. So beef, you can really press it, but you do want to cook it. You don't want to go. You definitely don't want to make steak tartare from the questionable market. Um,
No.
yeah, but you
Please
think
don't.
about people who are eating fruits and veggies from questionable places. That stuff's not cooked, so you're even more kind of at risk.
Hmm,
So, yeah,
that's a good point.
yeah. Now Richard says Palau. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Is the shark sanctuary? So that's kind of cool. I wonder if you've ever gone swimming with the sharks and in one of those cages. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess it being a sanctuary, you guys probably aren't eating shark, but now I want some shark.
I've never had shark. Is it good?
I have no idea, but I've had alligator, so now I feel like I need to have all the other dangerous animals in the water.
Yeah, yeah. I've had eel in my sushi. Um, it's okay, but I think I probably
I,
need to eat it on its own to know what it tastes like.
I didn't really love eel. All the times I've had eel once or twice. I've had calamari a bunch of times. I don't love them.
Yeah, yeah. Now, Erica Erikins asks about bison. You've had bison, right, Ariel?
Yeah, a few times.
What does it taste like?
Um, it's hard for me to describe, but it is better than beef. Ground bison to me tastes better than ground beef.
Really? Is it
Yeah.
lean?
You said, is it what?
Is it lean?
Um, yeah. So it was, and this was like especially lean. Like, this was like 90-10 ground bison. Um,
And that
so
still
yeah, it
was
was,
better than 80-20 beef.
yeah.
Wow.
Um, because so what I'm talking about is not a texture thing, and it's not anything beyond just like literally the flavor. Like there was something in some aroma or something that I was tasting in the ground bison that was not in the beef. So it's like when you first have water with a flavor and you're just used to plain water, like beef tastes like it's now the baseline,
Hmm.
and bison is somewhere a little ways up and off to the side.
So
Like
it's like
it's a
the
little better and
kiwi
it tastes different.
strawberry of water? Or is it like the lemon lime of water? Or
Hmm.
maybe it's the white grape with peach.
White grape would be really good too. Um, I feel like it's the lemon lime where I might get tired of other things. I might get tired of the other flavors, but the lemon lime I could basically do all day, any day. Um, yeah, bison is like if I had the money, I'd probably do bison way more often.
Huh. Now, Heather G says bison bacon is also good. I've never seen that. I gotta imagine it's gonna be delicious. If I love beef bacon, it's gotta be better.
Oh yeah.
I would say I like beef bacon more than pork bacon. Now that I've had it as an adult, I think it's better. I would hands down
I
always choose the beef bacon.
1000% agreement.
Yeah.
Um,
The only
I've
thing I
seen
like
people.
about pork is the fat. And the rest of it,
Yeah,
like the meat itself, if I get a chop or something, I'm going to eat the fat and that's going to be awesome. And then the meat itself, it's like, the other white meat.
hmm it good. Esther's gonna try bison. Awesome. Um, I've seen people say that bison may taste better because those animals haven't been domesticated like cows have.
Hmm.
So they're essentially like just the wild animal, and we just raise them as they are. We haven't selectively bred them and all that stuff. And
Well, you have convinced me too. Esther, I'm on board. I was gonna buy some last week at the grocery store. I saw it, and then I just was like, I don't know about this. Now I am sorry I did that.
yeah, I think it's worth it. Like I might actually there's a store around me that sells ground bison and like ground bison, ground pork, ground beef, and something else too. There's a fourth thing, and I don't know that I've had that fourth thing. I feel like buying that and some bison.
Wait, what's the fourth? Wait, you mean
I
another
I
ruminant animal, or
uh may not be ruminant, but another animal. Um, because my gut tells me it was elk, but I feel like that was wrong, and I
no?
don't think
I
elk.
hear about people eating elk.
So it might be ground elk, but like elk, they're not ruminant, are they?
Yeah,
Are they
they are. Uh huh.
monogastric?
No, they're ruminant animals.
Okay,
I think.
so
I think so.
all right, so yeah, it might have been elk, but yeah, like I feel like trying those, because now I'm remembering. I can't even remember the flavor of the ground beef. It was so subtle of a difference. I just remember every time I would taste it, at, like in the first couple bites, I said,
Mm.
"Oh crap, this is better than any other ground meat I've had."
So I'm so excited to try it, and I'm absolutely calling it a Brontosaurus burger. It totally
Yes.
makes me feel like I am in, like, the Flintstones. And imagine if you got a bison burger rib. Oh,
Mmm.
that would be just like being Fred.
Mmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Come to think of it, that whole like the big side of ribs, hanging off the side of the car in the Flintstones, I want that now too.
Yeah, that's a brontosaurus ribs. Yeah,
Yeah, I need the
yeah.
rack of brontosaurus ribs.
Erica Erican says I used to eat beef bacon when I lived with my dad in the 80s. Can't find it anymore. Also, never heard of bison bacon. Gotta try that. Yeah, when I was a kid, my grandmother always gave me the option of beef bacon or pork bacon, and I always chose beef just because that's what I do. I always loved beef, but it didn't occur to me until years later that to remember that I had that choice and that you can make bacon out of beef. So yeah.
And I didn't even. I think I talked about this before. I didn't know beef bacon existed. I'd never heard of it until
Hmm.
a few years back, and
Hmm.
now I'm in love with it. Um, I
Well,
would
people kept calling
probably
it beef navel, and I was like,
beef
beef
navel.
navel. Yeah. I
No,
mean,
see, that's just
I get
gross.
it. I get it, but it's like, no, I don't. I don't want to think about it like that. No.
Why do we need different? If it's bacon when it comes from a pig, why wouldn't it be bacon when it comes from a cow?
And I don't know if cows have umbilical cords, but like, do they even have navels?
That's a good question. I've never seen a cow navel.
I did see a cow
They,
being born one time when I was in Denmark for the summer on an archaeology dig, and we were in a very rural area. And we would drive every day to the site where we were going to dig, and we were passing this farm, and I was like, "Hey, is there a foot sticking out of that cow?" And everyone's like, "What? You're crazy!" And I was like, "No, I saw a foot sticking out of the cow." So we back up, and lo and behold, yes, there is a foot sticking out of the cow, and this cow is in the process of giving birth. So, we kind of got out to look, and then a bunch of cows started mooing at us, and we're like, okay, okay, I know this is a private moment. We'll go. But yeah, yeah,
is there a
yeah,
foot sticking out of that cow?
yeah. I wouldn't have thought that that would be a sentence that I would ever say in my life and mean it. But yeah, yeah,
That cow's got another cow inside that cow.
yeah, yeah. Esther
So,
says yes, they do have umbilical cords, so I guess there is a navel.
right. I've never
Yeah,
noticed it, but I've also, when's the last time I was under a cow? Never. So maybe that's why you just don't see them.
you don't want to be under a cow.
Hell
It's a
no.
dangerous place to
I'm
be.
little.
But I've definitely bought pork belly that had nipples on it, and yeah, yes, yeah.
Oh, I was not ready for that.
Yeah, I wasn't either. And I was kind of like, huh. But, I have this rule. Like, if I'm going to be a carnivore, I cannot get squeamish about things like that. So I just was like, I'm just going to have to deal with it. I'm eating its skin. What's the difference between eating the skin and a nipple? So I cooked it and ate it.
Oh, so you ate the nipples. I
Skin?
would. I don't think I could do it. I think I'm cutting the nipples off if I get any part of an animal that has the nipples on.
We can't be squeamish about that. And we may as well be vegetarian.
What you're saying makes sense. In principle, I agree with it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that in practice I can do it though.
Mm-hmm.
I might have to like there'd be pork belly with and pigs have like pigs have like 9 nipples or something. So like there'd be like just a line of
Yeah, there was
holes cut
more.
out.
There was more than one nipple, definitely, on the pieces that I had.
Yeah, no, I'm cutting all those out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's gonna be circles of pork belly missing.
So Esther says it's amazing to see and very hard for the mama cow. I'm a country gal. Yeah. Well, I did definitely feel like, wow, we're seeing life come into the world, and it definitely did feel like an intimate moment. And like I said, the other cows, like shoot us away. So,
Hmm.
yeah.
I love going to like the state fair here.
Mhm.
Like I just always catch it at the right time that I'm either seeing like newborns, or the last time I was there, I think I saw a horse give birth.
Wow.
Um, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. So, Ann Taylor says we both look amazing with glowing, clear eyed skin, and we look better every single time. So, thank you. I really appreciate that.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. We try. We try.
Hmm.
So, um,
Like
okay.
I get a lot of oh, your skin looks real good, your skin soft comments, and tallow, baby, tallow and not eating crap.
Okay. So, everyone else is also skeeved out by the nipples on the pork belly.
Hmm.
It
And
turned
not with the
Heather's stomach a
nipples.
little. Yeah.
It was a no on the nipples.
Mommy does keto says cow udder is delicious. And her mom says that, and her mom's from Portugal. Um, is udder? That's the nipples
Yeah,
or
that's
the breasts,
I,
essentially.
right. It's the equivalent of the breast. It
Yeah.
makes sense that it would be good. And I wasn't gonna say it because I didn't want to be weird, but as we were talk as we were talking about the pork belly with nipples on it, my thought was, what do they do with the udder after when they butcher a cow? Can you buy udders?
I don't know. They maybe send it to like dog food or something.
That's
Like
what I was thinking.
some of these things. Yeah. We have somebody new in the chat. Oh my God, Figo! I'm so glad that you spoke up, and welcome. And I hope that you enjoy our conversation. We're just chit chatting tonight, so we're just kind of freewheeling. But I think that this conversation though gives you some idea if you're doing beef, salt, and water. A way that you can expand it and still stay within, the general gist of or the spirit of doing the beef, salt, and water. Because the reason why we say beef and not chicken or fish or whatever is that there's something about ruminant animals specifically that are really nutrient dense and really quite healing. And so if you are looking to heal something, to reverse something, if you are looking to bring your inflammation down to an all-time low, the way that you do that is to go on, a diet like this. It's beef, salt, water, and a ruminant animal. Most likely beef, but you can, expand it. So I definitely have seen, and I've worked with clients where we do this, just beef, salt, and water, and or ruminant animal salt and water, and I've just seen people have an amazing, reduction in inflammation. Whether we're talking about inflammation or edema around the ankles and lower legs, whether we're talking about IBS symptoms, whether we're talking about allergies and asthma and eczema, that's where you're really going to see a massive turnaround. So it is worth doing. I definitely, I don't want to discourage anyone from doing it, but make sure you expand it so that you're including all parts of the cow, and that you're getting that fat, because the fat is a big part of the healing that I think that happens on the carnivore diet. So I don't think you'll have the same healing if you're trying to do like olive oil and, New York strip steak. Like, it's the beef fat as well that's part of that healing process.
Good point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and other cuts are going to give you more of that fat, and you don't get
Mm-hmm.
bored. That makes sense.
Yeah. Well, ribs. I mean, now that's something I could do all day long. And I save flank and cut ribs as my, that's like my carnivore candy. It is so delicious. I find it for about $11.99 a pound. So, you know, it's not something I can do all the time, but it's definitely a treat for me. Yeah. And Heather G, thank you for the super chat. I really, really appreciate it, and I'm so glad you're enjoying our content.
So, flank and cut is short ribs, right?
So it is. Flank and cut is short ribs, but it's a different part of the rib, and so it's easy to grill. Whereas short ribs needs to be cooked for a long time in order to break down the connective tissue. You don't have to do that with flank and cut ribs. So I think it's the spare rib, but it's cut long ways. So you've got 6 pieces of the spare rib rather than one whole spare rib.
Right, which means the meat is cut across the grain.
I don't know.
So I bet that makes it easier to grill too. Because I think normally with short ribs, the meat is going along the length of the bone. So like the bone will be pointing this way, and the meat will be all around it, going up and down. Flank and cut is going to be cut across, and I think then I bet that makes the meat more tender, and that's how you can get away with grilling it.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what the magic is, but it's good. It's definitely worth it to me. So how many of you who are watching, definitely put it in the chat. Who is, considering trying a beef, salt, and water, challenge for yourself? And, and do you think that would help you get back on track? I know that that's something that, especially for someone who's like gone through the holidays or, whatever holiday of your making that leads to a longish period off of carnivore. They want to come back to the beef, salt, and water because, I think it's because they want to feel good. And you really do feel, when you get really, really clean and you take out the herbs and spices and you take out the coffee, there's a clean level of feeling good that I don't necessarily feel when I'm including a lot of other stuff.
Yeah. And I think what might be another good question is what stops you from doing beef, salt, water? Because I know for me, probably the main thing and the only reason that I really just don't do it all the time, besides every once in a while wanting variety, is that I end up with days where I want to eat and I don't have beef ready right then. And beef is going to take longer to cook. There's no quick beef. The same way, well, there is some things like now I have beef sausage. I know which sausages to get. But for a while before that was an option, it was first meal. And it's always the first meal. What am I going to eat? Well, I have eggs and I have sausage and bacon. Those are thawed out. I can cook those quickly. Or I can spend more time doing something, but I kind of want like a breakfasty feeling meal. But if I had leftovers, I could easily eat those leftovers, and those leftovers could be beef. It could just be ground beef. I can even boil that for breakfast, and I'm fine.
Yeah.
So I think it's like my preparation. Like if I prepared better, I probably could easily do this challenge for at least like a week straight.
Yeah. Well, I challenge you. Do it a week straight and see how you feel. I'd be really curious to see, for someone who is generally healthy and at goal weight and whatnot, what you might see. Maybe there's no difference for you. Or maybe, there is a significant improvement. I'd be curious.
Okay. So I'm going to start it now. I'll still have my regular Sunday meal, but then like in between, as much as I can, I'm going to try to have beef or red meat.
Yeah, I'd love to hear. I think for me, there is a significant difference, and that's why I tend towards doing it just naturally, without effort. Yeah. Awesome. Figo is also going to try the challenge. So yes, Excellent, excellent, excellent.
And Heather G's considering it.
Yeah. So come back and let us know, how it went. Paulette says, I get lots of fats from beef broth cooked for 24 hours. I skim the fat after refrigeration. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
Excellent.
Yep. That's what I'm about to do with the broth from this goat. I already collected most of the broth, but now there's just the bit that the goat was still sitting in, and I'm gonna be finished with that goat probably tomorrow, so I'll be able to refrigerate it and get all that fat off.
Nice.
And use it for something.
Well, I'm definitely gonna get some bison. I'm gonna go looking for that, or order some maybe. I don't know. After I was like thinking, man, I'd like to have more beef bacon. I was looking at Whole Foods and they have it. And I'm like, well, where has this stuff been hidden? Because I have shopped in these stores, I've never seen it, and yet it acts as if it's there all the time.
Yeah, that's how. So ShopRite has beef bacon now. I just noticed it last week, and I didn't buy any because it was like your situation. Like it was like $13-14 a pound.
Oh,
and
wow.
Yeah, it was high. So I can get beef bacon for cheaper from the Amish market. So I may just do that tomorrow. But yeah, all of a sudden I'm in ShopRite and I see this beef bacon and I'm like, it was like next to the beef sausage, so it made sense. Like for that placement, but I've just never seen it before, never seen this brand before. It's not really advertised well. You'd think like this is the only beef bacon you have in the entire store, and you have it in a different place than where all the other bacon is. You'd think they'd have a bigger sign or something. No, nothing. Yeah. It was just like this little hidden treasure. If you know where to look, we've got the beef bacon and it's right here.
I know. I'm sure somebody was like, well, who bought this week? This never goes.
Right.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Good to know. So definitely everybody look for your local beef bacon and try some of the different beef things. And we talked about salt already, but I definitely think trying that smoked salt is a good thing to do. That is definitely tasty and delicious. And then for water, what do you think about water? We talked a little bit about that, but
as far as like how much to drink or like what kind of water?
Sure, all of it.
I wonder. So if you're doing a beef salt water challenge, I feel like the spirit of that challenge is to be as simple as you can be. So the flavored water probably needs to go. What I find with some folks, at least, is that the flavored water actually causes them to drink more than if they were drinking regular. And your amount of water consumption ought to be driven just by your body's need for it, not by the positive feelings you have about the taste of flavored water.
I think the flavored water keeps my cravings alive for sweet. So for me, that's the problem. And once I took that out, it was like, it was kind of a game changer.
I could see that. Just, I know for me, it would bother me because I would want them to have that thing. If the water is flavored, like we said, what did we say, strawberry lime or something, or strawberry kiwi, like then I'm going to want those for real. And I wonder, so do you feel like, so the flavored water drives cravings. Do you feel like the plain mineral water or sparkling water does that too?
Not at all. Not at all. And it quenches my thirst in a way that I don't feel quenched otherwise.
So there's something in that flavor, probably because, they call it natural, but it's not like they literally like mashed up and what's the word, like muzzled or something? Muddled. It's not like they muddled some fruit and then drip that into your water. So there's something
what did they
there.
Say? Some
something
of the
in
flavors,
that stuff.
Some of the flavors were made from like beetles and other stuff. Yeah. What is this? You're a carnivore. Beetle? Nipples, like, these should all be fine. Like, I felt like when I read that, I couldn't get too upset, because, like, it's natural. It's from an animal, an insect.
You know what? If I'm gonna eat a beetle, I want to choose to eat a beetle. I don't want a beetle snuck into my LaCroix sparkling water. It's just put them on blast. I have no idea if that's their flavor, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't want that stuff. I don't want beetles in my. I don't. Could you
Well,
actually
okay.
do that? Like Lion King, Timon and Pumbaa, when they just like pull up the rotten log and they pull grubs and crap out of there and they just straight up eat them. Like, could you eat a bug that way, or would you need to like fry it and
Well, so
modify
remember,
it?
I was an anthropologist in my, former early life, and I had definitely
Mm,
heard from others who had gone on some of these more exotic digs that, like, grubs, when they are fried, do taste like bacon.
mm.
Yeah. Um, I I do feel like once in my life I should eat either live food or insects, but I can tell that's not going to be my go-to. Yeah.
It just the animal's still wiggling as you chew it, and no, I can't see it. I can
Yeah.
see cooking a bug a little bit, even just a small amount,
Mhm.
but something to make it feel more like food. I could see eating a bug after that's happened.
I don't know. It might be like a crouton on a salad or something. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, it could be.
I mean, we always complain about, not having that crunchy texture. That's how you get your crunch. The exoskeleton of a six-legged insect.
Right? Like this is what we're doing wrong. We're not grinding up
No,
bugs.
not grinding up, eating whole. That's where the texture comes from.
Oh, well, I'm thinking of adding that texture to your other food too. But yes, like grind the bug up and eat that, or not grind it up. Just eat the bug, fry it up and eat it, and then also you got to find some way to impart that crispy texture to your other food that you want to be crispy, but you can't get it there.
Yeah. Well, let's stop grossing everybody out. I have a feeling like this is a little much for everybody. But
Uh, Esther's not with it. Most
yeah.
definitely, Esther is not feeling it.
Yeah. But, for all of you watching, you can absolutely do a carnivore diet with straight regular food that is not going to gross you out. You don't have to
Hmm.
eat anything you don't want to eat. And if you decide, if you take something down and defrost it and you decide you don't like how it tastes, you don't have to eat it. You know, it's okay. And we
Yeah.
save so much. There's no wasted food in my house at all, ever. And there's, the minimal packaging. It's just, the cellophane or styrofoam or plastic that the meat comes in. And so I kind of feel like if I need to waste a piece of meat because I just decide I don't want to eat it, it's okay.
Yeah,
It really is
it's
okay.
it's not the end of the world.
Hmm.
Sometimes I overcook stuff, and chewing it is just like so emotionally disappointing. Like
Yes.
like a badly cooked pile of meat can really ruin your mood, or at least it ruins mine.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, throw that stuff out, and I just start over. I decide, well, screw it.
Yeah.
I guess I'm eating Burger King today or something because this is not happening, and I don't have anything else thought out.
Yeah.
Real
And
quick, Mommy Does Keto asks how the goat is cooked. So I do it really simply. This is how I'm lazy, and it gets the job done. Instapot. So that's equivalent to slow cooking, but I'll put stuff in the Instapot for a half hour for each pound on high pressure. Comes out tender every time.
hmm that sounds awesome. And I mean, for those of you watching, if you first of all, if you have an instant pot, you can cook from frozen, so you don't have to wait for things to defrost. And
Hmm.
I again forgot to take a picture, but I hung out with my good friend Melissa, who is Primal in the City and another
Oh,
fellow
okay.
carnivore in Brooklyn. Yeah. And she was telling me that when she does her steak or her meal prep, she will, get the steak, salt it. Well, no, she would get the steak, put it and wrap it up individually and put it in the freezer. And that way, when she was ready to cook, she would take a frozen steak out and cook it in the air fryer and would come out perfectly. And we were talking, and I was like, you salt it first, because that seems like a better option, because I can't imagine how the salt would stick to the steak when it's frozen. So yeah, I was thinking salt it, leave it uncovered in the fridge for 2 hours, so the salt has the time to draw the water out and then be drawn back into the steak, then freeze it, and then cook it from frozen. So if you have the time and the space to do that, I think that's a really great option. And then you have something that'll cook in 10 or 15 minutes every time without having to worry about defrosting.
So, in the Instapot and the air fryer, when you're cooking from frozen, how much time do you add?
I don't know, but you have to figure that out. Yeah. So a little bit of experimentation. Yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
works.
so in the Instant Pot, I tend to add a lot of extra time because I want the meat to be falling off the bone. So I think I already probably add enough time to account for the meat being frozen. And I think that the pressure cooker will take a lot longer to come to pressure when the meat is frozen. So it's gonna warm up and defrost a bit as the pot is trying to come to pressure. So it'll just take longer to come to pressure, and it won't get to pressure until the meat is mostly defrosted, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that does. Okay.
So you might not need to add extra time. It just will take longer before the clock starts ticking.
Right. Okay. Now I feel like trying that too. Next time I'm in one of those what am I gonna eat, everything's frozen modes.
Yeah. I mean, it'll still be like an hour and a half, but in the Instant Pot, in the air fryer, I think you would still, probably be able to cook the steak from frozen for 15 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. So there you go, guys. You have some good ideas. Good ideas. And so as you go into this beef salt water thing, you know how to make something at the last minute. You know how to make something from frozen. Some basic tasty meals that are always going to be delightful and delicious. And what are some other things to try? I mean, my meatballs are a good solid favorite.
Meatballs,
and the hamburger hot dogs are also really good. As long as hot dogs. And Janae says no grubs, nipples, or udders required. That should have been the title of this video.
Grubs, udders, nipples.
Yeah.
Weird carnivore foods. Yeah, you don't really. I guess because you're doing red meat.
I mean, not weird things, just regular things. Like my meatballs are a great favorite. The hamburger hot dogs. I love the oxtails. Chuck roast. My chuck chunks are that's my absolute hands down favorite thing.
Yeah, chuck roast. We're just doing beef salt water, so I can't talk about putting spices on the ground beef.
I'm going to allow the smoked salt, so
Yeah,
I don't
okay.
know. I don't know if the smoke process, what it is, but I'm okay with it.
All right.
Esther
So
says beef liver. That's definitely not on my list, but that's a good thing. Maybe make some pate.
I'm gonna substitute beef liver and maybe put heart or kidney in there. Probably
Bone
heart.
marrow.
I haven't had a desire for kidney in a while. Yeah. I got a bag of bone marrow still sitting in my freezer. So yeah, bone marrow Um, Mommy Does Keto says beef shank, and that's a good one. There's a beef feet that you can do too. All these things that like bone broth is good. Meat broth though already happens before the bones even separate from the meat. And
Mm-hmm.
as far as I know, that meat broth is there's more in it than in the bone broth. More good things.
Boy, Esther, beef tongue, beef heart. Esther is, yeah, a country gal.
Hmm.
Nice. Yeah, well, beef tongue can be very fatty and delicious. So, and I
Yep.
know I put out a recipe for that. I don't know if I did it on a video, but um, when Jack Rustin was here from Rustin Boneyard, the guy who wrote the perfect um,
Take.
the cookbook guide on how to cook the perfect steak. Yeah, he gave when I interviewed him, he gave a very simple recipe for making beef tongue. So, yeah,
Mm.
I'll have to pull that up again. But apparently, it's very delicious. Um, and Heather G says she can't do beef liver without onions. I'm going to agree. When I make pate, this is where I break my no, spice rule, and I put in powdered onion powder. It absolutely transforms the taste. Like there is
Yep.
a distinct difference with no onion and adding onion. And it's
Yeah.
weird. You wouldn't think that something so small, like I'm just using onion powder, it's not even a lot, and yet it is everything. It is life. So, yeah, I'm going to just break the rule and put in onion powder.
Yeah. If I were gonna do, I mean, I wouldn't do beef liver, period. But if I was making pate, I'd have to use onion powder.
Mhm. Yeah. But onion powder's enough. Like I don't find that I have to have actual onions. So,
Yeah.
mhm.
I've never. The actual texture of onions themselves is pretty gross. Like cooked onions are slimy.
I meet people every now and then who are really grossed out by the texture of onion, and I cannot understand that. I love onions in all of their ways. When they're cooked, when they're fresh. I particularly love them fresh. I love them caramelized, which, I can eat a whole onion caramelized, but that's like 30 grams of sugar. So it's
Mm.
important not to do that. Don't do that.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, like caramelized is okay, and raw isn't bad, but when they're cooked, there's a certain way that they're cooked a lot of times, and yeah, like you pick it up and there's onion residue, and it's not oil, it's something else. It's on your hands. Like I don't like okra either for that same reason. Okra's slimy, and I hate it.
Interesting. I've never heard the comparison of onion and okra in terms
Well,
of the sliminess of the texture.
yeah, just in that. Everything else is different, and really, it's not even the slimy is the only part of the texture that's the same. Other than that, okra, Satan invented okra. It's a terrible plant. Um,
Okay. Well, on that note, so we have given you a really robust way to think about doing the beef saltwater challenge. I want to hear from everybody who decides to do it. Let me know how it's going for you. What are the things that you're finding work for you? What doesn't work for you? And yeah, and how do you feel? Like I think that's the part that's most exciting to me because I think you really see some incredible healing when when you go about it from this angle, and when you really stick with it. Things that are intractable, things that you don't even think have anything to do with diet, you start to see improvement in them, and that is really amazing when you see that.
yeah, and you know what? Before we wrap up, do you have you found, I guess, in yourself or in your patients, not patients, your clients, that you after simplifying the diet, like that they have to they heal and then they have to keep it simple forever, or that they have to are they able to heal and then reincorporate some of those other things like other kinds of meat or spices?
People always reincorporate stuff, and maybe they don't feel, at 100%. They end up feeling at 99.6%, but that's good enough. That's still fantastic. So I don't think that anybody should feel like you have to stay there. If you want to, you can, but you don't have to. And even I am not, like I said, tonight I had ground pork earlier, even though I said I was starting it today, I forgot. And I ate some ground pork, but, you, but you just, I eat it and I know that I'm going to feel slightly less good, but it's still a far cry from where I was. So, it's fine. It's a good enough trade-off for me.
Right.
I'm not going to add in something like cheese because, I don't want my asthma to come back. So that's a much bigger concern for me. But, for most people, like you just kind of have to decide where that trade-off is and figure out, how much you can push the limits before it becomes uncomfortable and no longer a benefit. So but no, I don't think people have to stay there. And in fact, some people I'm taking through, doing a protein sparing modified fast version of carnivore, and which is kind of different from this. And some of them really appreciate the variety of bringing in the low fat cuts of meat. They really appreciate the variety of having like egg whites and ham and, really lean pork and tenderloin and filet mignon and things that we never talk about in the carnivore community because they're not, not as exciting. So don't feel like that you can't bring those things in either. I have found, I've come to love the London broil, like just a straight cut of lean meat. I don't know what my dog is doing over there, but a straight cut of lean beef that I have to make sure to not overcook it and to slice it very thin against the grain, but it is quite tasty.
Yeah. Okay. And that's what I figured. It doesn't make sense to me that we would need to eat this simple for the rest of our lives, to see benefits. Um, and that's probably encouraging for some folks out there who, would wonder, like, well, if I do this and I find out that this is the way for me to actually be healthy, or this is the way for me to lose that some stubborn weight, get off a plateau, to heal from some condition that I haven't been able to fix, does that mean that I have to do this forever?
hmm Yeah, you do not. You do not. You don't have to do anything. You can do whatever you want to do. But each meal, you should enjoy. You should never look at a meal like, I remember the days when I would have like poached chicken breast with mustard and broccoli, steamed broccoli with, nothing on it. Like
Yeah.
that was, that was like a diet, the dieter's plate. So I don't want to ever look at a meal the way I looked at that. So you should always find pleasure in your meals.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. I wouldn't want any meal to be. It's why I'm so quick to throw away food when I really don't like it, and it's why
Mhm.
I'm so pressed about making food in a way that I like.
Mhm.
Because I want to enjoy my meal. I'm only eating 2 meals a day. They got to be good.
Mhm. Yeah. Agreed. Got to be good. So, hey Deidre, welcome. I am sorry you're late, but you will get to watch the replay, and I think this was a good one. I enjoyed it. I look forward to all of you who are going to try a beef salt water challenge and see what you think and enjoy and have a great week. And next week we are I don't know what's coming up, but it'll be something interesting. It's always something interesting. Oh, I do know what's up. Audra's going to come back and be a co-host next week, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think that's going to be fun. And yeah, and I'm loving getting to know, more and more members of the Black Carnivore community. So if you have been doing well on Carnivore and you want to tell people how you did it, what you did, what is the best course of action to get started, definitely reach out to me and let me know, because I think, I think we're probably the only channel that does this kind of, these kinds of this kind of content where we're just taking regular people and talking to them and hearing their stories of success. And I think that that's probably what makes this channel so useful for people, is to hear that. Because, it's one thing to read studies and to hear, like one person tell, their story and talk about their journey. But it's quite another to hear tons and tons of people talk about the way they've done it, the way they have, made it fit into their lives, the way that they have, personalized Carnivore to work for them, and all that it did for them. I think that is a really powerful testimony that helps people. What do you think?
I'm inclined to agree, and it wasn't until you said that I thought about the fact that, yeah, that doesn't happen on most other channels. Most people are not going to give you an interview with a regular person who isn't trying to be internet famous, or is already a person with like a large following. They're a doctor or somewhere else working in health. They've written a book. Like, to just do an interview with a person who is just happy to be carnivore, and that's the only reason that you do the interviews. You just want to see what their story is. I can't think of any place that does that, actually. I think the closest were like MeatRx for a while was doing like carnivore success stories, I think. And they would do they would do interviews with like famous folks, and the community members would then interview other people in the community sometimes. That was the closest thing. I don't think anybody else is doing it.
Yeah, yeah. And certainly not us and the people who look like us. So I am glad that we have a platform that elevates our stories.
Yeah, and I think the way you do interviews too is a lot better than a lot of places. Like, it feels personal. It feels like you are truly getting to know a person, as opposed to just running down questions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I have to say, I am genuinely interested in every single person and how they came to Carnivore and how they do it, because, there's as many people as there are doing it, there's that many paths to Carnivore. And so for people who say, I can't do this, or it's too weird, it's too different, I can't fit it in, my family says this, that, it's like there is somebody else out there who has a similar path that you can, take guidance from and take inspiration from. So I want to make sure that story is out there so that, you are able to find that. And that's, and I don't see that anywhere else.
No.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one great thing that happens here.
Yeah. Well, welcome, Anna. I'm sorry you had to have a COVID test, and I hope all is good and you are clear. Yeah. And, and awesome. You're going to start the beef, salt, and water only diet. So definitely watch this whole broadcast in the replay so you know exactly how you're going to get started doing it. But I am excited to hear how it goes for you. And Mommy Does Keto, yes, you unsubscribe from MeatRx because of their racist asses. Yes, and so I 100% agree. And if you all have questions, you can go to my channel, and I have a video exactly on what happened with MeatRx and why I left them, and and what the story is. So. Anna says, going to go 30 days minimum, then see if I miss other meat too much. Yeah. You're probably not. if you can get the beef bacon, because I feel like bacon fits a certain category that you can't get otherwise, and so if you can get the beef bacon, you fit that category. You've gotten the cured, crispy, fatty texture or flavor, and you're golden. And some beef hot dogs, you're done. You're done. You got it all.
Yeah, those are probably the two things because I don't even really need eggs in the morning.
Hmm.
There are a lot of mornings where I cook eggs because I'm just used to having eggs with first meal, but I don't have a taste for eggs.
Hmm. Yeah. When I have them, I cook them, and then when I don't, it's just like, oh, no eggs, and it's
Yeah,
just a thought that comes and goes.
like it's not tragic or oh, I really wish I had some eggs. I don't remember the last time I wish that I was eating eggs.
E Gene 62, thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate it. And the super chats and stickers really help to keep this channel going and help me to be able to keep bringing on this amazing free content. And so I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Anna says the only thing she will miss is awful. I can't believe you'll miss it, but that is awesome.
Yeah, especially because there's beef offal that you could still eat.
Yes, there is beef offal.
So I'm
Um,
confused.
but yeah, I don't really have a taste for so much offal, so I can't imagine really missing that. But remember
Nope.
that fat is an organ and skin is an organ. So we do eat those, we do eat organ meat a lot. We just don't think about it that way.
Yeah.
Oh, Esther. You have two,
I had a
oh,
feeling that
Esther
was her.
Fairley. Okay. Awesome. Hey, it's great to see you, Esther. It's,
Wait, that's Esther
wait, which
Fairley?
Esther?
I'm pretty sure that's Esther Hunter.
So,
E
Esther
Jean.
has got two accounts going. All right. Well,
Yeah.
anyway, Esther, good to see you. Okay, so we've been on a long time, so it's time to wrap it up. And for everybody who's here, I hope you hit the like button so we can drive up this video and let YouTube start pushing these videos out. I really, I'm working to make sure that people are aware of us and head over here. And there's oh, Esther Hunter. Okay, awesome. There's a lot of content here and a lot to consume, to learn from, and enjoy. Oh, Deidre, thank you so much. I really appreciate the super chat. Thank you. Thank you.
Nice.
So yeah, just enjoy and have a great week, and I will see you next week with Audra. I'm very excited about it. Have a great one. Have a great weekend, and everybody be well. All right.
Good night.